Three, two, one, go.
Oh my! Did you get that?
Welcome. We are here with the one, the only. He's king. He's Clausen.
The CCC classic Clausen.
But before we start, check us out on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Music, BitChute, kind of.
Yes.
Yes, BitChute. What else?
Follow us, like
Facebook?
us, text us, call us. We're all lonely. We need help.
Exactly.
Mark Clausen.
And smash that like button. Smash that like button right now. I'll tell you right now, hit that like button. Go scroll down on the damn page and just hit the like button. We have Mark Clausen today.
Hi guys, how are you?
Good. What's going on in your life, man?
Nothing. About to move out to Colorado here in about 8 days.
Woo! What are you doing out there?
I guide snowmobiles. Take a bunch of vacationers up a mountain up to about 12,000 feet, and then back down. Usually in one piece. Usually.
Just give us the whole tour guide, like, jokes. Do you have, like, token jokes you say while you're doing the safety training?
There's definitely jokes, like, for the snowmobiling, but I haven't done it in, like, 6 months, so I can't really remember them. But the ziplining jokes, dude, friggin' hilarious, dude.
So when you're not snowmobiling, you're ziplining, it seems.
Well, I was at one point. Probably not anymore. Ziplining's kind of a drag, as you could probably tell. Doing it over and over and over and over and over.
Drag.
So, but
the pulley on the wire. I get it.
Yeah, it's called a trolley. Get it right, bud. Industry term. No, guiding's fun. The general public, when they're on vacation, are super hard to work with. Even the smartest dudes are just like completely brain dead.
No common
we call it
sense?
vacation brain. It's a real thing. It's a real thing. It's honestly,
How so?
dude, they just show up and like if someone doesn't tell them what to do, it's like they don't know
They could be
what to do.
drunk.
Like, well, sometimes they are, but
No, I felt that way before.
yeah, you know, it's like
Well, it's like you feel like you're being herded a little bit. Like when I did a ziplining tour one time, and it's like you show up, and you're probably not going to start zipping for like 30 minutes when you show up. So you get all this stuff on, and you're all just kind of like staring at the other families who are going to be in the tour with you.
yeah. And your guide's up there just trying to be like
No, he's not
personable.
He's not doing any. You know, he's doing whatever, and we're all just like. I don't
There's
know.
like a protocol to everything.
Yeah. So
That's another thing for guides. It's hard to understand like where a person's at because you from the start are just used to the protocol. So like, dude, I never went on a zipline tour before I got a job as a zipline guide. Like I just showed up, got the job. So then it's like, well, I don't really know what the guest experience is like because I just know what I'm doing. Like for those people, it's just like, and then it takes a ton of time to get used to talking to people like that.
yeah, it's like you get what, a couple hours with them maybe.
Yeah, like 2.5.
And even then, it's only in like little segments of time. So you're having like conversations.
yeah.
Do you ever have like good conversations with people like that?
Dude, like crazy conversations. One of my last tours I did before I left, which I was doing this in North Carolina, so you get tons of people from like Florida coming up, and like you get the alligator stories, dude. But this one guy in particular, he told me that he actually like saved his buddy from an alligator attack, and his buddy ended up losing his arm. And then he was on like the Matt Lauer segment of the Today Show or whatever show Matt Lauer was on, and they did like a documentary on him on that Discovery Show channel, like Am I Alive or I'm Alive or whatever, from like, you know, the early 2000s, all those bullshit shows they used to make.
Yeah, it's
dude.
like, how am I alive or something?
Yeah, something like that. So you'd get some good conversations up there. But it is funny because you don't get to like break it up if like you have to force it kind of. So like you'll be talking to someone, it'll be a good conversation. It's like, oh shit, dude, like I gotta zip down this line like right now. Like we gotta go. I'm trying to have an hour lunch, dog. We gotta go.
So when I went ziplining, at one portion, there was a place where the people at the beginning of the track could hear the people from that side of the track. So the guides would say, how long can you scream down the zip? And then it'd be like a competition for each person to see how long they could scream. And all the guys getting ready to zip could hear the people screaming.
Okay.
So it was like a way to get them psyched up.
Okay, gotcha.
Do you guys do anything like that?
Well, on the van ride up, this is really the only thing. On the van ride up, there's one spot where you can see like our biggest zip line. And this is at the Nantahala Outdoor Center in Bryson City, North Carolina. I'm just going to plug them real quick. But they have a one zip there that's 2,200 feet. It's the mega zip. And you can see that one from the road as you're driving up. And we stop and everybody's like, hey, look out the right side. You can see this cable up in the sky. And then the guy goes, oh, yeah, those are just power lines, and then they just drive away. It's so funny. but then you tell them it's the mega zip, and everybody's like, no way. And you're like, yeah, you're going to go 55 miles an hour, 350 feet off the ground, get them all psyched up. So that's really it. And every once in a while, if you're
then
lucky.
you blue ball them.
yeah, right. And then we got to do, like, all the training and 5 zips before we get there.
But you need that excitement.
Dude, you do. Yeah, you do. And some people are just, like, fucking scared, dude. And that is hilarious. It's hilarious.
I'll never forget.
That's crazy.
If you guys go to Cedar Point, there's a little ride there called the Iron Dragon.
I know that one. I know that one. It's like the first one everybody rides. Yeah.
So Max Toby, my little brother's coming on, and it's his first roller coaster ever. And they're going through the same thing. They're going through like the stats of it. It's 200 feet high. You get a whopping speed of 55 miles an hour. And Max starts crying, dude. He's freaking out. Those stats are blowing his mind. And then he got done. He's like, oh, that wasn't so bad.
Hey, you hear that, Max? You're a wuss. I hope you're listening to this.
No, he doesn't listen. No, he does, actually. I'll be walking around the house. I'll hear my voice in the shower, like someone's voice in the shower. When he's taking a shower, I'll listen to it. I'll be like, who the fuck are those guys? Like, who would say something like that? It's us.
We are those guys.
I fucking hate that guy.
What an idiot.
That guy sounds dumb as fuck. And then it's like, oh, that's me. Oh. He says I say the F word too much. That guy's dumb as
heck.
Really dumb.
That guy is so hecking dumb.
He is stupid.
Yeah. But it's
So,
cool, man.
Mark,
What's up?
where did you find these jobs? Were you just literally looking online for like, I feel like doing zip lining?
No,
buddy.
the zip lining was because my buddy Trey, who just like is into the outdoor stuff, he just like worked there for 2 years, and he like plugged me and like all the guys who went down there. So it was like 8 of us total, plugged all of us, got us all recommended. So we all went down there together, and he worked in the same department. But then for snowmobiling, yeah, I straight up just looked up snowmobile guiding Colorado, and it was the first link. First link I found, it just went to the company, found the contact us, emailed them, and then filled out an app, got the job.
And that's up near Winter Park, right?
In Winter Park and Fraser, Colorado.
So did Brennan and Amanda, Brennan's been on the podcast as well. Check out his episode. But did he follow you to that area then, or is he going there too?
I got the job there originally, and then...
Brendan was not on the podcast yet.
Oh, he was.
He was, but
We didn't release that one.
we didn't release that one because we
Broken.
messed it up.
Yeah,
we
so
messed it up.
broken. Yeah.
But I got the
Don't
job
listen to
there.
Brennan's
I was
podcast.
planning on going to...
You can't.
It's impossible.
I am the only one that can listen to it.
But so I went out there, got the job, went out there. I was planning on being alone, and then Austin, who is my buddy from college, who I think most of you guys have met, he was already living in Glenwood Springs out there. He was working at a hot springs or something, staying at like his buddy's parents' house for like super cheap. So it was a super sweet gig. And then he was like, well, time to move on. And then he was like, well, I might as well go to Winter Park. Got a job there. And then Brennan was like, oh, dog, they're out in Colorado. I'm going too. And he showed up. He didn't show up until like December. So
Really?
he showed up like a month after I was already there. So before
Highly
that, it was just me
recommend
and
it.
Austin.
To anyone who hasn't been skiing out west or like the Sirius Mountain, definitely do it.
Yeah. It's the
It's
best.
super fun. And Winter Park is a great place to go. It's
Yep.
maybe an hour and
It's-
a half outside of Denver.
Hour and a half about on the dot, and Winter Park tends to be a little bit cheaper than like the big ski resorts. Like out of all the really big ski resorts, it's the
still
cheapest one.
huge though.
It's huge, but it's nothing compared to like Breckenridge or
I've been there,
Vail.
man. It's pretty comparable.
Pretty comparable. See, all the people there tell me that it's like 9 peaks compared to the 2 peaks.
Well,
at
maybe I
Winter
just
Park.
didn't have the time to do
Yeah,
it all.
that's true.
But I've been to like Keystone and A Basin, and
That's another thing. Breckenridge and Keystone are like right next to each other, and there's another one in there too. Like, so there's a bunch of mountains that are all right there, and that's why those resorts just are bigger and more expensive. They draw more of the crowd. Winter Park is like supposed to be the middle class ski resort.
I will say Breckenridge is definitely higher class,
Yeah.
and it's really interesting when you go out there because it's middle class, but it's still all rich people, comparably. And then you go to Breckenridge, and it's seriously rich people. I mean, next to the slope, going down like the main lift, it's like mansions with pools, like infinity pools, and there's just people chilling in there. You walk around, people just look like wealth.
Yeah.
I was in there, I basically look like a farm boy with like my beat up snow gear and stuff. They're all wearing, you can tell.
Did you mean
Blazers.
Winter Park was more middle class, but there were still rich people?
Yeah.
Okay, got you. Yeah.
Breck's definitely a little higher.
Yeah.
And I hear, what's the nicest one?
Fail.
Vail?
No, Aspen probably.
Vail or Aspen?
Yeah. Or like, I don't know, there's a bunch in California that are really popular. Squaw Valley and Mammoth Lakes. Shout out all those folks at Mammoth.
Do you think skiing is the most fun you can humanly have? Because I do. You're a man who knows it's fun. What is the most fun thing?
I don't know. Skiing is like, as you're doing it, is probably the most fun. Or, well, skiing or snowboarding, both are probably equally fun.
I consider them the same
Yeah,
thing.
me too. But I don't know. The only one that I've done that probably compares to it, there's 2. I would say whitewater rafting and like some big shit, especially with like actual raft guides.
But doesn't the danger go way up?
Oh, for sure. But like, I don't know, man. Like
Skiing's really dangerous
I've been
too,
into I've been in some big rapids, and like it wasn't that bad. Like I went 30 feet underground, 30 feet underwater, and came up just fine. Didn't even have a scratch on me. Whereas snowboarding, it was like when I was learning, I was getting beat the hell up constantly.
I like going fast.
Yeah, going fast.
That's
is
about
fun.
my. That's
well,
my
at the ski
work.
resorts
going
here,
fast
at the
and
ski
just-
resorts here, that's about all you can do. But
Frank's been out west.
oh, you have? You've skied out west?
I haven't skied out west.
Oh,
You
gotcha.
snowboard though.
I haven't snowboarded out west.
Oh
Yeah,
no.
I thought you went out there one time
I've went out there numerous times.
to snowboard.
I haven't snowboarded
Oh
out
no,
Oh, my bad.
dude! If
there. I went to New York and there were
Okay,
some
okay.
good mountains.
you should definitely, if they make a trip out, you guys should.
Yeah,
definitely.
I got a cousin in Reno, and he's a fly fisherman guide on the
Oh,
Truckee
yeah?
River, Arlo's Fly Fishing Service. If anyone's in the area,
We're just plugging all
Yeah.
sorts of cool stuff today.
but yeah, I mean, like follow his Instagram. He posts some like beautiful trout and everything on it. But yeah, I was planning on like going out there sometime and going fly fishing, and then maybe just go up north a little bit.
Yeah, you
and-
could. I don't know how far. I feel like Nevada is west of
Well, you could-
Colorado. Am I right?
Yeah, it's west.
Okay,
So
so
like
it's probably pretty far.
Reno's like in the bottom of the mountains.
Oh,
Why
okay.
don't I just show you?
Yeah, you should. I don't know what Reno looks like at all, except from Reno 911.
That's what I was thinking too. That's the only, whenever I just see a cop in real short shorts.
Officer Dangle.
Never even seen the show, but I know that
That's
much.
where Reno is. So it's like right at the base of the mountains.
Oh, nice. Can you type in Mammoth Lakes real quick? Mm-hmm. That's probably the closest resort.
To there.
Yeah, Mammoth Lakes, California.
Jacob Saul, you gonna go out west at all?
I want to.
Have you been out there yet?
Yeah, that's pretty close.
I've
Oh,
never
yeah,
been
it's pretty
west.
close.
No,
Yeah,
west
Lake
I've ever
Tahoe
been was
is-
Chicago.
Is
As
Lake
farthest west I've ever
Tahoe.
been.
It's right there.
Yeah, I believe they live near Lake Tahoe. And
Carson.
Reno's right north of Lake Tahoe.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's not bad.
That's so crazy. They named that lake after that car.
Yeah, dude. That's nuts. Yeah, that shows how much of a cultural impact Chevy has had.
You gotta get out there, Jake.
Oh, well.
We were talking to
Sooner or
my
later.
friend Luke Higginbotham one time. He says, "Yeah, I've been out west before, Chicago." That's what he said.
Sorry, bud. Dude, but look at Colorado on that map, dude. Colorado is almost central U.S. Like, it's 4 states over.
Well, it's like
Yeah, it's pretty-
where was Gabe at?
He's in Denver.
Yeah, but he was out in like canyons out.
Oh yeah. He went down to where that guy had a rock fall on his arm in the movie 40 Hours.
Yeah, he
127 hours.
Oh, yeah,
he went
yeah.
there.
He was walking in those same
Oh,
ravines.
no
Yeah.
way.
Really?
That's crazy.
So,
Jeez.
so I asked, "Did you see the arm?" Because he had to cut his arm off.
yeah.
And he said the day after they saved him, they went there and like drilled out his arm because people go there on tourism. What do they call it? Like necrotourism or something?
Yeah, necrotourism.
Oh, where they go see
dead bodies.
dead bodies.
Yeah.
Oh, no shit.
Like Everest has them too.
What'd you say?
Everest has like the dead bodies up on the top.
I bet, yeah. That's crazy.
Really?
Yeah, dude.
There's a lot of bunch of dead bodies.
I don't think they carry them back down if they
because
die.
it's you'll
Really?
It's
like,
not
it's too
worth
much work.
it. Yeah.
They're completely the same as when they went up because they're completely frozen.
Frozen.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Whoa.
Asking for a friend, if I were to try to do some necrotourism, where would be the best spots to go?
Probably a graveyard.
I don't think that's...
Bring a shovel.
Yeah, right.
Don't
So,
do that. Don't go graveyard.
Big question. At what point does it become archaeology instead of grave robbing?
I don't think there is a line.
Wow.
I think it all is grave robbing.
Yeah.
If you're funded by the
But it's
British...
like, don't you want to know the history? Is it actually important to know
Yes.
the history?
I don't think. I mean, like probably. I don't know. For me, it's probably a few hundred years, at least 3 generations down the bloodline.
3 generations? I think that's fair.
Because at that point, because like I have in our family cemetery, we have like 3 or 4 generations back in that, and I would feel comfortable just because I don't know anything about him.
Yeah.
But it's not like I'm
I
gonna
know what
go
you mean.
dig
I was
him
about
out.
to say
You know
the
what I
same
mean?
thing. It's definitely a little fucked up to dig up a dead body.
Yeah,
but dude,
a little bit.
Honestly, you can learn a shit ton.
Well, even
Should be
like,
3 generations, though, that
3
seems kind of
generations.
recent.
I don't need
That
to be
seems
digging
kinda
up,
recent.
like-
no, I'm not
I don't
saying
need
you
to be-
just do that, but I'm just saying, like, say if there was for some historical value, like I would
Yeah.
probably put a line on 3 generations.
Yeah, but you're not like digging graves. You might find like
For
old
me, yeah,
houses or something like that.
For me,
or-
I feel like that's a good amount of time for the dead to make their way to wherever they go.
Fair enough.
Fair enough. King Tut begs to differ. I've seen him. When I went to
Dude, that dude was fucked up. He had like so many things wrong with him.
sure, but Chicago Museum had him.
Oh yeah,
Smithsonian.
because they took him. They
do they
Shout
really?
out,
British.
shout out
Where's that
to
at?
America for
Yeah.
just like raiding countries
Well,
and stealing.
they
The
basically
British took a lot of it.
they
Yeah.
pass around exhibits. Mm-hmm. So that was one you could go see, and it's like the what do you call it? The tomb or the cast?
Yeah, it's called sarcophagus. You were
Yeah.
right.
Of King Tut. It's like,
Dude, I think it was like I read it. I read or heard a story about like when they were going and transferring one of because like the British took a lot of the Egyptian
people are
sculptures.
fired up
Yeah.
about it.
Yeah. It's a real
And,
thing on Twitter.
Like one of the giant statues that I think it was one of the obelisks that like those sharp pointed things. The British took. I believe it was that. It was so big like they could barely put it on the ship.
yeah.
And I think like halfway, like near France or something, something broke on it, and so they had to abandon ship. And like they just left the ship, and it just went off to sea and shit. And it happened to come back to shore, and they just found it again. They're like, oh shit!
And they
Like,
brought it to the museum.
yeah,
No shit.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
I don't remember where I heard that from, but I definitely heard it.
It's definitely sticky. I don't really know
Those
how I
stories
feel
are all
about it.
folk, like all folk too.
Sure, but just the British having all of those archaeological artifacts.
I think they're in a better place in Britain than they are in the Middle East.
Yeah, it could be a war-torn area and blow up.
It's hard to say,
something
but
and
if you're in
just
a-
go there.
I don't know.
if it's your heritage, like
That's also like the American
it is a
expression of the
sticky
Middle East.
situation.
like we don't actually know what the Middle East is
There,
like.
I get that, but there's
majority
just a
people
lot
are
of
probably really
war.
peaceful.
Yeah, it's true.
It's just going to
there's a lot
destroy
of
it all. I mean,
It's
look at World War
probably-
II. Destroyed
in
so
all-
much
In all
art.
honesty, the Middle East is probably going to be one of the last places there's actually a war on the ground, other than like invasions. I feel like.
Oh, dude,
Because-
there will be drones and drones.
Yeah, it's
going to
be different. It's just going to be
yeah,
different.
but they'll just
after
level
this-
they'll level
Yeah.
it. And there's so much
Well-
like that's the shit that pisses me off because that's like the breadbasket of human civilization is all in the Middle East. It's like the Mesopotamia, like the Sumerians originated in in the Babylonians too.
Yeah,
like
yeah.
it's all in the area that's getting fucked up. And
Yeah.
it's really annoying to me. I love history like that, so it's just like
It's just because that's where all the oil is, dog.
yeah, I know. It's quite absolute power corrupts absolutely.
Yeah, for sure.
Same with greed.
Well, it's a lot of oil, so there's monetary benefits, and then it's a bunch of people who are not well armed, so it's easily taken over. You know,
I don't know. They're
definitely
in
putting
history.
up a fight.
Those guys put
Yeah,
up.
they
big
put up
time
a fight, but dude,
man.
Well, they put up a
after-
fight because we armed them.
Yeah,
we armed them, but they got the will to fight, man. They will
yeah.
fight.
World War One.
Anyone
really
will fight.
started.
It's like a coon in a corner. Like it'll fight till its last breath to get out of that corner. About like any other person would. We're not much different than every
Dude, I mean,
animal.
crazy story. You know the story of Lawrence of Arabia?
Lawrence of Arabia?
Lawrence of Arabia. Crazy motherfucker. That guy, straight up, when they first started to take the oil from them, he was a British like commander, captain, whatever the sorts, however, got down to Arabia and just like led all the rebels in this giant rebellion
What's the
in
time
World War
frame
I.
there? Do you know?
World War One. Yeah. I don't know I think he was fighting against the Ottoman Empire.
So like
The
early
the
1900s.
Ottoman-
Well, the Austro-Hungary Empire.
Yeah, which was the Ottoman Empire. Yeah,
yeah.
that's what I was gonna say.
How long
So
did the Ottoman
pretty
Empire
insane.
run? Do you
A
guys
long
know?
time.
Very
A
long time.
It's
Yeah.
crazy that's not
That
even a
mil-
thing anymore.
Well,
It's
yeah.
honestly
It's gone.
It's
nuts.
gone.
It's
It was after World War One. It all fell apart.
Yeah,
Right?
Pretty much, yeah.
Well, because of what was it? Franz Ferdinand, the shot that was heard around the world.
yeah.
That started World War One, and that was he was the prince.
He was Prince of Serbia.
Yeah, he was Serbia, but
Yeah,
wasn't there a marriage or something? It was like.
I don't even know the exact story.
Well, I mean, I have the
why.
end of it, the newspaper up there. That was when the war ended. That's the day the World War One ended. The Ohio State Journal.
Okay, what was the original purpose of World War One? Like, what was the
What was
reason
the
it broke
purpose?
out? What was the reason it broke out? Was the Ottoman Empire trying to take over?
Well, the reason it broke out that's taught is that the shot that was heard.
Yeah. That was
he
what
was
started it.
assassinated.
But like,
and
there was
that's-
all this shit.
There was
that
a lot
happened
more
before
going
that.
on.
Yeah.
There was a lot of imperialism taking place at the time. That's not really taught.
It was a reason. It was like
You
a
don't just-
reason to get into it and a
Yeah.
reason to start going for.
Well, it wasn't even that. It was like already. It was kind of like. Why would a dude be assassinated in the first place if there was obviously already conflict?
But didn't it have
Well,
nothing to do with the actual war
Yeah.
itself?
Well, that's what I mean.
no.
Like
There-
obviously there was already.
a lot. There was actually a lot of assassinations of political figures around exactly
Yeah.
that time because that just was going on for some reason.
But that's
they
what I mean. It
decided
was
to pick
very
that one.
imperialistic at that time. Like
Yeah.
the Turkish were at their prime.
that was, like,
that was the core of.
World War II is definitely an imperialistic war, but it just. I don't know, when you learn about it in history, it feels so much different than World War One. Like, World War One almost feels medieval. Like,
Yeah, it does.
like people just running at
Well,
each
dude,
other.
just
Hey,
like
World War I
you
was
can look
more
at
brutal
pictures
than
of
World
it,
War II
and
was.
like, holy shit! You
They're-
look at
they're-
some of those. They went all out. Like the
Well,
gases they used. Like they would.
It was
they
the
would
last
literally-
war that was
Dude,
wide open, and they were convincing. I don't know how America got wrapped into that at all.
I know exactly why. It's because the Germans sank the Lusitania. Yeah, that's exactly
Supposedly,
why. Dude,
but there was also like the British have quite a reputation of drawing the Americans into the war just purely because of
Yeah.
an economic standpoint.
because they need them.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah, dude, or it's because the United States government wanted to be in the war. Either or, like
Yeah,
the
and
British
it's-
probably wanted
yeah.
their backing.
Well, they don't. And the weird thing is like right after the war, and it's not really. They don't really teach it at all. It's like we went into a severe depression in like 1920. Because of not only that, the Spanish flu, like there was a deep depression, but
But that was
because-
after World War One.
That was immediately
why do they
no,
call it-
different depression. So like it was a short depression. It was like 1919 to 1921. It had its peak in 1920, and the reason why it dissolved, it ended so quickly was because I believe the Fed did nothing to stop it. They just let it go. And so it naturally fixed itself. And then that caused the roaring 20s to begin because of the economy. I think they might have pumped in some money too. But
It sounds like they did.
yeah, but like then the Roaring 20s started and like what the like Gatsby, all that shit. And then 29 hit, the stock market collapsed, and then the depression happened, the Great Depression happened. But like that's the weird thing is like you don't even learn about these depressions before it. It's like not only that,
it's just so much to
Yeah.
pack in.
well
And some of it's not probably ideal for the U.S. teaching system to teach the U.S.
it's so,
kids.
like it's not. It's better to. I think they should start teaching about like not only the Great Depression. Like it was called the Long Depression in I believe the 1880s, and that was just like people really suffered during that time too. Like I don't know.
This is right after the Civil War.
It was like 10 or 15 or they
Civil War
prolonged
ended
it.
in what 1860.
1864.
I thought it was the 1880s for some reason. Maybe I'm just crazy.
It started 1860.
But that was when the whole like lobbying and because the I forget what it was called. I think it was called like the United States Federal Bank or something. I don't forget what it's called. But they somewhat created a centralized banking system during the Civil War to finance the war, and that's when the greenbacks were created and whatever. And that caused a lot of like annoyance just because there was a lot of people that were like, hey, This is not in the Constitution. Like you can't fucking make your own bank and central bank.
And all the money was still backed by gold and silver.
Yeah, they didn't have the money that they loaned out.
When did that
changed
change?
in 19. Well, the gold. So that was what was that gold system called?
Gold standard.
No, it was called something else. It's called the gold standard, but like it has another name for it. It's like how we weren't technically on a gold standard completely because I think it was something to do with like Keynesian economics, but like whatever. But the Federal Reserve was created in 1913, and that was like the third centralized banking system that was started in the United States. And then so the Federal Reserve allowed them to create money. It allowed Congress to ask the Treasury to ask the Federal Reserve for extra funds, whatever, print money out of thin air. And then in 1973 is when Nixon completely removed the gold standard, which meant that
it's wild to me that it was so late. It seems like something that is just so established.
You don't realize it, but gold was illegal until then.
That's a very interesting fact.
So in World War II, it was illegal to own gold.
Really?
FDR made it illegal because they needed the gold.
Didn't people go around and say, "Do you have any gold?"
Yeah,
and they would buy it from you. If you said yes, they would give you dollars for gold.
But it was like they were giving you a shit price too. Mm-hmm. So like they weren't because of creating something and making it illegal creates a shit ton of scarcity. Mm-hmm. And so like in reality, they should have been giving them like a lot higher premium than they were really giving them. Mm-hmm. When they can utilize they probably utilize eminent domain or whatever in some case. But yeah, that's not even talked about. Like you couldn't even own gold up to like 77 or something like that.
It was like pseudo illegal.
Pseudo illegal because it's not like you could just hide it. It was not big. But yeah, in 1973 they completely removed the gold standard and literally. Like, there's a whole website, if you're interested in it. It's WTF happened in 1973 because right when Nixon removed the gold standard, like, everything got super fucked up. Like, all wages stagnated. Like, it caused ripples throughout the economy.
That we're still riding to this day.
Yeah, we're still riding this day. So, like, this is WPF. So, like, growth and productivity in 1973 just the growth and productivity continued rising, but we weren't being compensated equally for the productivity increase.
Why is that?
It's because that allowed you to manipulate the currency. So, what happens is you really, the way you benefit from printing more money is you have a fuck ton of money. So you can just keep swapping assets. So like every, I think it's like 30 years or something, it's called the wealth cycle kind of flip-flops and people going from like assets to commodities. So like every 30 years or so, people will switch their, like the ultra width.
Assets meaning like land.
Land versus like oil or something to like oil or some commodities. And that's what we kind of just watched earlier this year. The oil prices fucking dropped to negative. When's the best time to buy oil? And who are the best people? Who are the people that can buy oil at that time? It's the ones that have fucking money. Mm-hmm. So it's like that's why they all say it takes money to make money. Mm-hmm. But like so when you allow the creation of a shit ton of money, which removing the gold standard allowed them to print infinite amounts of currency.
It's a fiat country.
It's a fiat currency. We went totally fiat in 1973. And so when you completely remove the currency backing, you print this infinite amount of bills. What you're doing is essentially taxing people's savings. So
because of inflation, your money is worth more. Where if you had gold, you still have gold, and it's probably just going to increase in value.
Exactly. Yeah. And so that's why everyone got fucked because wages don't increase that. But when they were on a gold standard, they didn't increase fast because like the dollar stayed the dollar amount.
Yeah, for
and so like all of this bureaucracy pretty much slows the changing of these systems. Mm-hmm. And so now we're just watching. It's like you still make like the minimum wage hasn't raised too much. But in reality, it should have raised a lot more because of inflation. We're watching
less minimum wage, more wages that you agree to be paid.
Exactly.
So because the government printed a shit ton of money, they could just basically buy all the gold out from underneath the American people, and now all of their money has no backing.
They're not so like them removing the gold standard was pretty much them saying like
the gold is ours now.
No. So it's like it pretty much it allowed the gold and silver markets and like precious metal markets become like almost private, so to be like openly traded, and now that means that their prices are supposed to be they're supposed to be set by the supply and demand, like the just regular market, but they're not because of how futures work and shit. The banks actually set the values of gold and silver. But that's a whole nother can of worms.
Yeah,
this sounds extremely.
Frank, you can jump into a can of worms on this one in so many lanes. You're pretty. I don't know. You're not the wokest I've ever met. There's some people who really know currencies, it seems, but
you've dug pretty deep.
Yeah, I've definitely dug deep. But like, that's so like we're watching the. This is what happens when you have fiat currencies, is that it kind of fucks over the common working man and allows the people that had the currency. It's like we now have
to be able to buy a house for $2,000.
Exactly.
Or a car.
So that's why they always would kind of base it off of how much you could buy a house for, like a few dozen ounces of silver in 1978. You could buy a house for a few ounces of silver.
Maybe.
Probably. I don't doubt you could, but less than 100 ounces. Now it takes like a few hundred ounces, which doesn't really make sense because houses are super expensive. Though like it does make sense just because houses are super expensive. But
the
it doesn't
housing
make
market's
sense.
Interesting because the houses also got more expensive to build, and they're a lot.
Did they though?
No,
did they though?
Yes.
They didn't.
Yes.
Did they though?
The actual materials didn't, but now you have AC, you have tons of outlets. You might have like Ethernet capabilities, like smart homes, like all that stuff. HVAC systems are way more complex now. Like
there's a lot of stuff that goes.
So
into a
you know
house.
how you stagnate the rise in prices. So what we've watched is how you stagnate the rise in prices to offset the true inflation is you literally offshore your labor market to a cheaper labor market. So we offshored all of our labor market to China. China produces it cheaper. Prices don't go up. So we don't really feel the effects of inflation. Thus, the reason why in the last 8 months, look at what happened to toilet paper. Like the supply could not meet the demand. And most toilet paper is made in the U.S. too.
Yeah, but
you're watching it all technology.
That was more because there was a general rush.
Is it a general rush?
Just because people freaked out and went for it and they didn't.
But you've seen it yourself, and technology prices have gone through the roof, and that's just because of the shortages of everything. We're watching the downfalls of our logistics systems. This global system.
Do you think that those prices are all rising simply because of
rising
transporting goods, or
no, they're also rising because they printed a fuck ton of money?
It's just you're starting to see actual inflation. To me, you always compare what can your dollar buy, and I just use fast food. How much, or like any food? How much can my dollars get a burger?
Chickens ain't $1 anymore.
No, they're not. No, they're not because they can't be.
Well, here's the other thing,
and they still use more and more filler to keep There's inflation happening, but they tried to push that food and make it cheaper to keep it worth $1. But now it's they can't make it.
They made it as shitty as possible.
I wonder when the $5 pizza at Little Caesars is gonna go away because I haven't had it in a long time. But it's gotta be
$5 foot.
And you gotta be careful. You gotta be careful when we're looking at the inflation rates that the Fed gives you, because their inflation rates is based off of the price of goods, which is that's what I'm saying is
the
you
boxes
can hide
of cereal get a little smaller.
Well, not only that,
candy bars get a little
now
smaller.
they're getting smaller, but 50 years ago they just had to offshore the labor market because
they already did though.
Yeah, they already did that. So now they're
oh shit, looking for something new to do, but to offset the inflation, and they can't figure it out.
Yeah, and so that's why it was weird that the Fed came out recently and said we have a target 2%. I think it was 2% inflation.
It's 2 or 3.
You're not supposed to have any fucking real control over inflation,
and they really don't.
Well, they don't.
They do when they print money.
When they print money, but that means it doesn't. It's so nothing fits together. Because you can't just print $2 trillion and there's no free lunch. There's never a free lunch. Well, always something. It's always something equal.
The big question to me, and I haven't seen a good answer yet, is what are they doing? What's the purpose? Because they're not.
What's the purpose?
They want the dollar, and they want the American economy. They want the American people to keep on living well, the people in control.
What's the purpose?
Yeah, what are they trying to do? Why did they pay everyone?
Why did they pay everyone?
Yeah, even people who didn't need it.
It's a big herd.
Sure.
We're watching a giant
they want
system.
to control everyone. They
Yeah.
want, here you go. Here you go. Here's
we
some
watched
money
this.
for
We
you.
watched it happen in the last century. It's like we went from living on pretty much everyone lived on small farms and then moved to mostly cities because of the Industrial Revolution. And then we've watched that it's almost like a natural state. I'm not saying that there's some people or group pulling the strings or whatever. I'm just saying it's like almost a natural progression of humans to keep becoming more wanting to be controlled.
Wanting to be controlled?
Not wanting consciously.
Subconsciously, they want to be
You've got-
They just want to be safe.
They want to
And
be safe.
I think the
Yeah.
safety leads to control.
And so that means
No,
so think of
That's
they show you, you can be safe, but they're taking away so much more.
And
than
so
just,
think of like a shepherd and his herd of sheep. There's got to be a shepherd if you have a herd of sheep.
Yeah, but I'm not a sheep.
So that means like we're watching these shepherds. What they believe is the right decision make. And that's why, like I always say, like the road to hell is paved with good intentions. I forget where that came from.
Yeah,
That's what I mean. Is like they think they might be doing good, but in reality, like this is the craziest thing to me is that really in the last 50 years, the government could have just fucked off and like just let everything go.
They probably would have been completely
like,
fine.
Yeah, and my grandpa said that it's like when a politician, once they get in office, every politician has to put up a new traffic light. Because they gotta have something to run on for the next election. So they gotta do something. Because there's no one's gonna elect the politician.
You always see that at the end of every, at least in our lifetime, Obama did it. Bush probably did it. I don't remember. And Trump definitely did it, where it's like, we're bringing the troops home.
Yeah,
because everyone wants the troops to be home, but they don't actually do it. Like they just say they do it right before re-election, but that's just government politicians trying to get re-elected. I don't know. It's interesting.
Well, I don't know. We're just watching.
It's definitely a weird time right now.
I think we're watching. This is a cyclical pattern that happens numerous times throughout history. Watching a civilization collapse.
Maybe.
Yeah, I mean, there's four stages to every civilization of all time. Dog.
Yeah, that was
we're
crazy.
in the third stage.
Yeah.
We're in the third
fourth.
stage.
We're in the
Close
fourth.
to the fourth right now.
Oh, we're already in the fourth, dude.
It seemed it was weird. I text our little group chat and I said it just seems like after the election, like everything just kind of went like really calm, and it seemed like it was that.
Calm before the storm.
Calm before the mass. Like everybody just kind of like okay.
People still ran and trying to get more toilet paper.
And that's a weird thing.
Well, I mean, things happen, but like a lot of noise went down.
Yeah.
A lot of noise went down.
People
and
aren't
it just seems
pissed at each other anymore for some reason.
and
right
it's
now.
calm, and there's something there. It's going to explode.
Well,
people are not.
After the before the election results came in, everyone boarded up their windows in the cities. Like to me, that's so crazy.
Dog.
Well, dude, it's
Shit got real this year, though.
Yeah, I guess so.
Shit
Especially
got real.
especially if you're a business.
well, it's like
Downtown.
people forget the natural state of humans is chaos.
Yes.
Oh yeah,
Facts.
Sigmund
know.
Freud had that one right.
You guys want to take a break?
Yeah.
I think so.
Yeah.
Cool.
Beat at the end of this podcast.
And we're back.
Oh, we're back. Oh shit.
Welcome back, Frank. Isn't there a disclosure you'd like to say about that last part?
Oh, I'm not a financial expert. Nor should you think I'm one. I just like to read stuff.
I thought it was
Listen to
hilarious
everything that he
that I
says.
said, "Oh man, we never came to a consensus," and then Hank goes, "Dude, there's no fucking consensus on any of that shit. No one
it's wide
understands it. It's wide open.
Yeah.
Crazy."
But Mr. Clausen, you want to talk about your little experiences guide and the? I'm
Yeah.
so fascinated by the industries you're in.
What got you into it?
Well, I heard about NOC. People were like, "Yeah, you can go down there and zipline guide, make tips." You know, I thought it sounded fun, and it was. And like, dude, I'm pretty good at talking to like the random person. Like, it was easy for me. It came pretty natural. And then I grew up snowmobiling, so obviously I was going to take a snowmobile guiding job, and it was offered to me. So, I mean, that's really how I got into it. And now it's just like I'm in the industry. I've done 2 separate jobs, so I'm in it now. It's an interesting career, that's for sure. I know a lot of people who have been in it for a really long time, and most of them don't necessarily enjoy it. So I don't want to be in it for too long, but I really do enjoy being in it now.
Yeah, it's interesting because
Here, Mark, move the mic a little bit up. Up a little bit. Perfect.
Right here.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Yeah, it's way better.
Cool.
Nice.
It's crazy that you guys are working in places where people go for fun,
Yeah.
and like you also get to do the.
That was
like,
really the main thing that drew me to it originally, is that I want like a vacation for a week just doesn't really do it for me, especially because growing up I didn't really get to do a lot of like snowboarding, scuba diving, anything like that. So I want to be in the spot that I can learn and actually get good at those things. And that was what originally drew me to it. And then being there for extended periods of time and then other people showing up to like do the things that you do is just like hilarious, because you're like, man, I've been doing this for a month and I'm already better than these people who have been coming here a week of their lives every single year for 50 years. But the fact that they don't do these things like for really long times, they just don't get any good. Like skiing, for example, like someone can go skiing for a week of their life for 50 years and they will never get as good as like somebody who goes every day or 3 times a week for 5 months. Like they can't even touch them.
Yeah, it's just not enough time.
Not enough time.
But it's too expensive for a regular person to do it all the time.
For sure. And that's like the cheat code. You just go get a job in that area.
Hank, move that mic a little bit closer to you.
Thanks, man. Sorry about that.
You're good.
Audio police. Frank Townsend.
Which one do you enjoy more? The
Ziplining or snowmobiling?
yeah.
Probably snowmobiling, because you don't have to talk as much. You really just have to be a better teacher. And like when it comes to like teaching people how to snowmobile, or with ziplining, how to zipline, I mean, really with zipline guiding, you're really just teaching people how to brake with that glove. At least at the place that I was at, we had like a leather pad and a glove, and you had to like put it flat on the wire to slow you down.
That's interesting. So everyone had to brake themselves. If you don't brake, are you fucked?
No, I have there's a brake block attached to the wire, and it's like it's a polyurethane block, and it has like 2 little eyelets attached to it, and there's a rope tied into this one and a rope tied into this one.
And it tightens or something.
No, it's wrapped into a loop, and they're both tied together. So it either attaches to a wire that's above the actual zip line, or it's attached to a tree and like attached to like some accessory wires on the platform or something like that. And like you like put friction on the rope that's attached to the block to slow the person down as they're coming in. There's a little bit more technique to it than that. Like if someone's coming in super fast, you got to kind of like pull it, and then like it breaks the original like like that friction barrier or whatever you want to call it, and then you like put your glove, like I close my hands to slow that rope down, and like you can really control how fast you can stop somebody. So like for example, on that mega zip I was talking about earlier, like people get up to like 55, 60 miles an hour sometimes on that one. So like if they're not braking at all, by the time they're hitting the cable, they're probably going like sometimes 45 to 50, because there's an uphill part of the wire towards the end since it's so long, especially on that one. Like it's on every cable, but that one's is especially big. So they're hitting it like 45, 50 if they don't brake at all, and they have like pretty decent form. So like I'm stopping somebody and like 15 yards with speeds of 50 miles an hour. So like you get good at judging that. And if you pull on it and then you add that friction, they slide in real nice. You keep them from swinging way up and like smacking into stuff. And dude, it's intense.
I don't remember any of that when I did it I don't remember braking. I just remember jumping on and flying.
Dude, that's the big thing. That's the big thing on ours, is teaching people how to brake. It's the most important. Like there's 5 or 8 zip lines in total. First 5 are like a smaller course, like a classic course you'd see around here, like in Ohio, like tree to tree kind of thing. And then we hit the ground, and then it's like we get on the mega zip platform and do the last 3. But like if they don't know how to brake by the time they finish number 5, if they're not doing it at all, like you ain't going in the mega zip.
Really?
Sorry,
You tell them to walk?
you're leaving the course. Yeah, you're leaving the course. I won't let them go.
It's dangerous.
If they're like a little kid, or if they're like all handbrake with the brake block as well. Like there's sometimes I do an 8-man tour and I don't have to brake anybody, but it's out there every time
But
for
you go
everybody, no
first.
matter what. I go first or second sometimes. Like the lead guy job is the person who's working the brake block, and then there's the sending guide who's hooking everybody in to send them down.
Okay.
Like the lead guide is like the person running the tour essentially. But it gets, I mean, it's different with everybody who you work with, you know. Like, some people are just type A and want to run the trip, even as, like, not the lead guy. And if someone wants to take over my part of the job and I don't have to do it, they can do it. I don't give a shit. Like, I don't give a shit. I'll just run the brake block. I'm cool with that. So,
Yeah. Sounds wild.
yeah.
Dangerous. Fun.
Dangerous for sure, but fun. Now, snowmobiling's definitely better, but the injuries are way worse because they're driving their own snowmobile. So that's a completely different can of
If it
worms.
lands
Like,
on top of you, you're hosed.
it usually
heavy,
rolls
aren't
off.
they?
I've never seen it land on top of anybody. That's really only if you're jumping.
So you get like rolled into stuff? Is that where the injuries come in?
Well, the only injury I saw was a broken wrist, and that was because somebody, like, she went up on a snowbank, and when she crashed, she didn't just, like, eat the snow. She put her arm down.
Oh, yeah.
It's, like, super basic injuries. Like,
Yeah.
there's definitely been worse. I don't want to, like, go into, like, super deep details, but, like, honestly, like, it's never that bad when it comes to the injuries, but you get more prevalent injuries on the snowmobiles. Because they're driving it
a lot more
themselves. Like,
freedom.
it's way, yeah, for sure. Way less controlled. That being said, you have to do a lot to mitigate your risk as a guide on that one, especially because you're by yourself. So you're controlling the entire tour, and you're setting up the order in a certain way that you would like. Like, for example, if I'm with like one big group, right, and there's like an older guy who's like the dad that oversees everything, you put that guy in the back every time, because he watches over. He almost becomes like a guide for you in the back because he's going to be the responsible one. So you can like talk to him about like things he's seeing and he'll help you out. It's funny because you instill a little bit of like trust in somebody that's on your tour. If you do it to the right person, it can actually be a super huge benefit to you, make your job way easier.
And the person doing it is probably having fun too.
Yeah, because they want to be like in power, so to speak. Yeah, it's funny. It's funny. And then they're the guys who tip you too, so you get fat tips. By the way, everybody, tip your guides.
Tip your guy.
Tip your guides.
What if I don't want to?
Well, fuck you. Those people do that shit like every
It
day.
reminds me of I went horseback riding one time.
Yeah.
And it was similar because some people just couldn't figure it out, man.
Yeah,
You gotta
yeah.
like pull the horses away from the shit.
Yeah,
and,
yeah.
like, you just have to.
Yeah.
And so they'd situate people based on their skill level in the trek, and I was in the back, bro.
Yeah. Yeah. Fucking A,
I
bud.
had it done.
Yeah.
Down.
Yeah,
Yeah.
boy, you're
Yep.
good.
You were
horseman.
good. You were
They
good.
had
at
to
it.
watch you a lot.
Yeah,
It
that's
was hard with the horses because on the trail they want to stop and eat every time. They just want to. There's like just any green shrubbery, they just want to eat it,
Yeah.
and you just want to be nice to the horse. But if you let them eat, they'll keep stopping
yeah.
throughout the. If you're a
Yeah,
pushover,
yeah,
they'll
yeah.
work you. Like
That's
the horse will
hilarious.
They test
No
you.
shit.
They'll test you.
They're smart
That's
animals.
fucking
It was cool.
hilarious.
I highly recommend the horse.
That's
riding.
so
Yeah, they test your
funny.
limits for
Well,
sure.
That's funny.
just like on what else? What that movie with the smart dude, Sherlock
Jimmy
Holmes.
Neutron. Oh.
Yeah, no, Sherlock Holmes when he's like,
smart
I'm not
dude.
taking a. Yeah, he's a smart dude. But he they're about to get on a horse. He's like, no, I'm gonna take that guy. I'm not gonna ride anything that has a brain for itself because they're just smart and they will do what they want to do.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That
but
is
what
funny.
it's you. If you're not a pushover, they got you.
Oh,
like,
yeah, dude.
Like if you just pull it away the first couple times, it won't try to eat the stuff.
You just gotta
Dude,
fucking
you
show who's
know-
the boss.
You know what breed of dog is the same way? Pit bulls, dog. Pit bulls, if you give them a little bit of leeway, they will exploit that, dude. They will exploit it every time. Those dogs are smart. Those dogs are super smart.
I don't know about
Animals are
super.
smart.
Yeah.
What?
I don't know about super smart.
No, yeah, you're right. Not super smart. Not like monkey smart. But
Not like border collie smart.
not border collie. Well, I don't know, man. I've been around some border collies, and like they just seem smart because they were designed to do a singular task.
I don't know. That's why we've always kind of gotten dogs with border collie or at least lab in them.
Yeah.
Or shepherd. I mean, just because they're way easier to train.
Well, that's for sure. But they want to be trained. That's
Exactly. And
another
they can
thing.
learn a lot faster, and you can teach them a lot more words.
The smartest breed of dogs I've seen like working together are blue heelers. Like I had a cousin who had like 4 or 5 blue heelers, and they would like open the doors to the shop to go. They didn't have a doggy door. Like they would jump up and like pull the handle down and open the door to let each other in. Like that was one of the most amazing things I'd ever seen.
My German Shepherd figured that out.
Yeah.
Your German Shepherd did?
Yeah.
Maybe I underestimate dog intelligence.
No, you figured it out, man. Also,
Like
the door would be wide open.
They say a border collie can it can gain intelligence like up to like a 3-year-old.
No shit.
You can learn like 15 or 1600 words, something like that, pretty easily. Yeah.
Dude, I actually saw a video
So
today on Reddit. It was a video of this dog. I don't know what type it was. It looked like a poodle and like some long hair breed
Probably those
mixed.
hypoallergenic.
It was definitely
ones.
some rich person because you could kind of see inside their house, and I was like, damn. But they had this big soundboard laid out, and it was all puzzle pieced together, and the dog would press buttons with its hands, and it would say fucking words, and it was crazy, dude. It was literally.
It's not like it's saying words though. It's doing. It's like the.
It's reacting.
It's doing what it was taught to do.
For
it's not,
sure,
it's
but-
not thinking of it on its own because this is like there was an old like snake oil salesman, I guess
With
you
the
could
chickens?
say. No, with the horse. He taught his horse how to like he made this wild claim that his horse could do math.
Yeah, they do with chickens.
Yeah, they did with chickens too. And all they were doing is just teaching it to respond to stimuli. It wasn't like they were doing the math itself. They were just doing it. They were just remembering what the correct answer was.
The reason I say that like it was saying words is because it had like 150 different buttons to press, and it was pressing like the right ones at the right time. Which, given I didn't get a chance to see it press every single button, so like I don't know the exact
Either
story.
way,
I think
Yeah.
I think the deeper thing to like people don't think about with dogs enough is like the like almost spiritual connection dogs have to humans.
It's pretty
Like
sweet.
they sense our emotions.
Yeah,
so,
for sure.
Like that's the reason why dogs are such great like PTSD whatever dogs.
Yeah, service animals.
Yeah.
Dogs are incredible.
a lot of empathy in
Incredible.
dogs. They're great.
Well, they just know what I feel like. They have a fifth sense for like knowing how you feel.
And it goes both ways, though. You
Yeah.
can be around dogs and you're like, oh, that dog is feeling a little down right now. Like, you can tell.
Yeah, like that's what I mean. There's like
Not chewy. A little bit.
No, that dog's actually for a little dog. He's actually not. He's pretty smart.
I haven't been spending enough time with Chewy. I have real mixed emotions about little dogs because I have like a bad. Because whenever I'm
that-
around them, they're just yipping.
Yeah, he doesn't really yip.
Super small dogs.
Dude, this dog is 12
Like the
pounds.
shit Chihuahuas and Shih Tzus. I'm not a huge fan of those.
This
I
dog.
like
is,
chihuahuas
no,
myself.
I have a Yorkie, and it's a big Yorkie. It's
Yorkies are cute.
I have a Yorkie, and it's 12 pounds, and that dog breaks chains for a 50-pound dog. He will break the chain.
Chewy's a strong little dog.
He's a strong little son of a bitch.
Yeah,
Because when I play with him, I push him around and like.
The
Imagine if that
Chihuahua-
dog was the size of a pit bull.
God,
dude,
that
it'd
dude would be scary.
Dude, the
monstrous.
Chihuahuas though are just so annoying. It's like
I don't have them.
all
I just-
bark, no bite.
My brother has a Chihuahua, and it is like the dopiest dog ever. Like totally not classic Chihuahua. Like lap dog, cuddler,
It's all-
jump up
I
on
think
you.
it's like
hilarious.
any breed of dog. It's all about the environment.
Yeah, for sure. It was raised by like an old lady,
Yeah,
and
then
then
it's
like
gonna
she
bite,
couldn't take
definitely,
care of
yeah.
him anymore. So like he took her in. It's just the most hilarious
Oh
Chihuahua
yeah,
I've
that
ever
dog's
seen.
totally his life with Riley. It's chilling.
Yeah, for sure. It doesn't.
Dude, it was
bark.
learned off of grandma or whatever. It was definitely just chilling.
Dude, that dog doesn't bark; it screams. Like it's so funny.
Whatever the lady he grew up with was just like,
You can't train those dogs not to bark. I've yet to see one.
dude, my aunt
They get
has
excited,
one.
bro. They bark. Like,
My aunt has one that hates men. Because
Yeah.
like a dude, I think, I don't know, some dude or boyfriend, I don't know, whatever the fuck it was. But like a dude kicked the dog and now the dog absolutely despises all men.
I met a pit bull like that once. It would freak out if there was
Yeah.
another man around.
That's crazy.
I remember when I went over to her house, she lives in Florida, like he would just like stare me the fuck down all the time. Like he kind of calmed down after a while, but still though, like I would go up to pet him and he would just
Yeah.
But he got used to me where I could pet him and everything.
Takes a little bit though sometimes.
Yeah, it's just because they've been like it's like those scars are too deep.
For dogs, it seems like they can get real deep.
What's like the
scars.
remembering thing? It's like how they just really remember stuff really well. Like it's not like they're coming up with their own thoughts; they're just remembering. So it's like they're remembering the past trauma.
You know what?
PTSD for dogs.
What I found impressive. So my girlfriend has a pit bull, obviously I've been talking about pit bulls a bunch. So he recognizes when we're going through a drive-through and gets super excited because, like, you know, dogs at drive-thrus get treats a lot.
Yeah.
It's crazy that once we pull into a drive-thru, it's like he already knows that, like what's happening.
Yeah, when we worked
Pavlov's
at the
dog.
store,
Yeah.
we had them all trained. Dogs would come through, every single one would just freak out.
Yeah.
And it's the same thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
It's that little switch.
Yeah, dude.
Yep. We had bones and we did
That
the thing.
reward, that reward system.
Yeah, dude. It's
We do the
so
same
works
shit,
so
too.
well. Dude,
We
no,
literally do the same
That's,
shit.
that's what I was just gonna say. We're talking about a lot of stuff that dogs do.
They're-
do
they're-
horses do,
they're
like,
just as simple
where they get that snack and then they
Yeah.
might start eating. We do the same thing.
Oh, yeah.
To ourselves and to our bosses and
Yeah.
all around.
That's why I'm really glad I grew up on a farm because you just see it really firsthand. That's why I'd say everyone should just go because I've talked to people that have said like, oh yeah, I was like, hey, have you ever seen a giraffe? Yeah. You ever seen a cow? No. And it's like,
There's some people like that.
And that's what I mean. Like everyone should go out and just because agro-tourism is huge right now too. Everyone should go out and visit a farm and just like a good farm, not like a mega farm or whatever.
Yeah. It's
Not
the
those
thing.
shitty farms,
There's
like-
a fine line of what you want to see.
Exactly. Go see a small farm. Like the people are nice. Like they're very loving.
I love
like,
seeing herds of cows.
Yeah.
Like on Fleetwood, Fleetwood Mac. What up? Yeah, they got different like herds of cows, and I just much rather see that than a bunch of cows in the stall.
Dude, the best is cows in the spring if you let them out in the
jump
pasture.
around.
Like they go and they're so happy. Like that's why I'm always a big proponent on like I'm for slaughtering animals, but it's like you give them a good life.
I'm with it too.
Like that's
sure.
like it's
not,
sad to
it's
me.
not economically
Happiness
feasible,
makes the
but
meat taste better.
Yeah,
bud.
exactly. And it's like it's sad to me when you see like cows because cows have always kind of been on the same level of dogs. Like you treat a cow as well as you treat your dog, just because like it's gonna feed you too, and not only that, you want to give it a good life. And now they're being treated like chickens.
Yeah.
Like being in these giant
They're
pens and everything.
smarter than people give them credit
Yeah.
for, too.
cows for sure.
Dude, they're
Pigs
so
too.
they like once they get
Pigs
past
especially.
the prey because they're really prey oriented at first, and once they get used to you, and that's like one of the reasons why a lot of farms like that have cows, they'll play radios constantly, so so the cows are used to humans' voices because they're really prey like. Like if you spook one, all of them are spooked. So like once you get used to them though, holy shit, they're like a dog. Like, I had one cow that would just always like he wasn't fully castrated, and so he still had one nut. And
Same.
no, but so he got like a lot bigger than all the other cows got. And I remember he would always like to play, and he would come up and get real close to me and like shove. They have like a kind of a big bone sticking out right here on their forehead. Like some of that's where in front of where like a longhorn would get his horns. There's like a big bone. It's super hard. Like you could hit a cow as hard as you possibly could, and he wouldn't feel it. And so he would always like rub it, like try to push it against me, and you'd grab it and push his head in the ground, and that's like kind of how I'd play with him. And so he'd push his head in the ground, and just because of not being castrated fully, I remember like all the other cows I could still pretty much push around pretty easily, but that cow, he came and started playing with me one time, and I started pushing his head really hard down, and he let me push his head down once, and like I like kind of leaned forward, and right when he felt me lean forward, he just went, just pure neck strength, just whipped up, threw me across the I just went.
Those
I hit
animals
the
are
wall.
strong.
I hit the
They're
wall.
huge, dude.
I hit the wall, and he started like hopping around because he was like, "Oh, he's like, "Oh, now we're playing."
Get
Whatever.
all riled up.
And so like, he started like hopping around, and like I walked up to him, backhanded him, and because he knew better, he's like, I was like, yeah, I talked to him too because they learn your voice. Because I was like, I always like I backhanded him. I'm like, you shithead, and like he knew I was like pissed at him.
That's funny.
That's what I mean. They're like dogs almost. Like, well, they're not as. I wouldn't say they're smart, but
I don't know if I could have that connection with a cow and then eat it and not feel like, oh man, that was my cow.
No, you will feel bad about it, but you get over it.
I don't know. It's I think it's a lot to do with
It's like hunting
environment.
deer,
it's a lot
dude.
to do with environment.
You always
Like,
feel
do I
bad
just
about
feel
it.
that way
always
because I'm
feel bad
used to
about it.
dogs?
No, you feel that way because you've been socially programmed to feel that way.
Maybe so.
Because like I grew up, it's like you give them a good life and then you can eat them. Like I know that sounds shitty, but it's like that's the life.
You
like,
pay for them.
And not only that, it's just like if you just let a cow out in nature, it's probably gonna die. Like,
Immediately.
exactly. Like you're
A lot worse death than you're gonna give them.
yeah, and
Things will get
it's a symbiotic relationship. Like that's what it's always a symbiotic relationship, and that's like if you don't do that, you're gonna starve. Like you have to kind of at least be a little selfish. Like I would rather live and be very nutritious.
I grew a garden. And I loved my tomatoes. I loved them. And when I was
Dude, they
eating them,
taste
I
better
cried.
when you build. Yeah. Shut the fuck up. They taste better when you grow them, though.
I will be right
It
back.
does, for sure. I'll see you, Mark.
See ya.
All right, Mark Clausen's, ladies and gentlemen. See you, buddy.
Too many of these, and I gotta pee.
Oh
This guy.
man,
how it is.
you gotta know how it is. See ya.
What do you guys think? You think this podcast is going all right? I don't know.
That fucking Mark Clausen kid. Oh my god.
Oh, man. What exciting news do we have as a podcast group? Jacob bought a house.
Yeah,
Jacob bought a house.
Bought a house. Not telling you where it is. I
Good
will.
idea.
If you'd want to, I mean, I'll shoot you. But
If you have his number, ask him. If you don't ask.
yeah, I wouldn't ask.
How many bedrooms?
It's 2-bed, but there's a bed in the basement.
Okay. Finished basement?
It's finished basement.
Ooh.
We're gonna have to tear up the because there's one corner that's really weird. And there's a little water damage, but we're not sure what the heck happened there. It's kind of weird. It might be a crack, but it's a 2-bed, 2-bath. It's on about 0.5 acres. Has a nice big old garden in the back already, and
Nice.
there's 3 alpacas and our neighbors.
Nice.
Oh, yeah, dude.
Yeah, dude. I'm
Dude,
pretty
you should go
excited.
spit on them.
Yeah, I heard that's cool.
Have a
Spit on
spitting
them
match?
first, so they don't spit on you. You just
So
assert your
dominate,
dominance.
yeah, dominate.
Assert your dominance. Just walk over there on all four and just fucking.
Let 'em
What's up,
know.
bitch?
Yeah, eat it.
Get them all fired up. Woo!
What was Napoleon Dynamite's?
Tina.
Tina.
Yeah,
That's what I always. There was,
Tina,
was
you
he a
fat
llama?
lord, come get some dinner.
Tina was a llama,
Yeah, it was a
right?
llama, yeah.
Fucking alpacas. We have I think there's someone that lives down the road from us that has alpacas.
Are they fur
So
farmers?
I have no
Can you get
idea.
milk from them?
Probably.
It's a
You can
fur
get milk
thing, I
from
think,
anything.
right?
Huh?
It's like the wool. Or
The wool.
is the value. 'Cause
But-
no one eats alpaca.
You could breed them. You could
Well, I
be a
bet
breeder
you
too.
could probably eat them. I don't know how.
No,
it's
it's the wool
taste.
for sure.
Yeah, it's
Alpacas.
definitely wool.
Yeah, it's definitely the wool.
They're like big sheep.
Took you long enough.
Yeah, Jesus.
Gosh, dude. I had to wash my hands and everything.
You making a new lake?
Yeah.
Lake King Clausen.
Late King Clausen.
We were just talking about asserting our dominance against alpacas by spitting on them first.
Oh yeah. I think their wool's too thick to notice.
Oh no!
Oh, you spit
give
them right in
them
the
the face.
face.
You
Yeah,
spit 'em in
right
the eye.
face. Yeah,
Right in the eye.
Don't definitely know it.
And then they'll get. Then it's just like, oh. Then if they spit on you, you gotta spit back.
Oh yeah, you can't back down.
I feel like you have to do it to them at a young age, or else they won't really know the negative reinforcement.
And then you
Do they
slap 'em.
always
You
spit
slap
on?
'em,
They
slap 'em,
always
you
spit on
slap 'em.
people.
you
Though.
gotta slap them.
Slap 'em a couple times.
I don't know if you want to pick a fight with an alpaca.
I'll hog tie that bitch.
I've always had this. You know how they use donkeys to protect certain areas because donkeys are super territorial.
Yeah.
I think it'd be hilarious if you made this tiny little short film, and it was just these military dudes coming into this crazy enemy complex, and the entire outside is just filled with
fucking donkeys.
600 donkeys. There's just this crazy battle of a bunch of military men fighting donkeys for 30 minutes. That shit would be gold. It would be so funny.
That might be the best Clausen movie idea I've heard all week.
No, well, I got some good ones. I
know,
can't
man.
give them all
You gotta
away
make-
on the podcast.
You gotta make some.
Can't make this public.
No, that's fine.
I'm just fucking with you.
Yeah, we all have business ideas and stuff we don't give away.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, we're gonna be millionaires. He's getting more.
Wish you would have grabbed me one of them. I'll split it. All right, sounds good.
Trinky, clinky.
It's called Red Bottle wine or whiskey.
Red label.
Johnny Walker.
Red.
Big fans of the podcast. Johnny Walker.
Yeah, he told me yesterday.
Johnny's a good friend.
My dad.
Jeez.
No.
What else? We're not gonna have Tim Tebow on. We decided against it. Tim was pretty stoked, but
Dude, not gonna lie though, that team that Tim Tebow was on, Well, what year was that?
The Broncos?
No. The Gators team he was on.
Gators,
like Aaron Hernandez was on that team and the Pouncey brothers.
Mm-hmm.
And they were into a whole bunch of crime and all kinds of, you already know the Aaron Hernandez story. Like, they need to make that a documentary.
They did, dude.
Well, they made Aaron Hernandez a documentary, but
Yeah.
not the Gators team because, like, Aaron Hernandez and the Pouncey brothers and, like, there was a couple other dudes that got arrested on that team for, like, some serious crimes. And, like, no one talks about
Dude,
it.
that's just sports
There was,
in
like,
general,
a known,
though.
like, a really high up known white supremacist or something on that team. Like, playing
Dude,
football for that team.
College sports is corrupt. Like, there's so much terrible stuff that goes on that people get away with. Oh, now it's a party. Clausen spilled some shit.
Are you kidding
Delicious.
me? Are you kidding me?
Dude, on your
It's a
nice
waste of
chair,
whiskey.
it's got the pad on there.
All right.
Reason why I have the pad.
All right, finish it.
Oh, shut up. Not
finish mine.
happening. Oh, shut up. Everybody back
Mark.
off.
Finish it.
No,
Don't finish it.
I refuse.
Do it.
Binge drinking is bad, everybody.
Binge drinking is very bad. You heard it here first.
It's debatable.
Unless you're doing it like a short amount of time, right? If you just binge drink it a short amount of
Yeah.
time, it's all good, right?
As long as you just consume as much alcohol as
Yeah,
possible
yeah.
within a
It's
An
super
hour
fun.
range by
minutes.
hour range.
Super
yeah,
fun.
just
I'd
Then
say
it's
a
really
couple
not.
minutes.
A couple minutes.
Yeah, right. It's super fun for like the first 4 years, and then
Just
after that, it
inject
just
it.
makes you feel bad.
Yeah, after you turn, what, 25?
Yeah, shit. I'm 22, and it already sucks.
I say we just need to start smoking all of our alcohol. Bring back smoking alcohol.
Alcohol vaping.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
We watched a video on that in the academy, and they're like, "It's bad, don't do it." And this guy just got like super drunk.
In the police academy. That's what they're worried about. Dog, actually, I'm going to take it back. Salina Police, I love you. Don't pull me over. But I remember going back when we did those active shooter drills with the police department, and they were talking about crocodile like it was a fucking problem. I'm like, dog, you guys got it all wrong. I feel like
I don't remember
Crocodile.
the last
like,
thing you
crocodile.
guys need to be talking about is
Dude, if you wanna
no,
go
no,
and
no, it
take
wasn't
crocodile-
crocodile. It was flocka. You know what flocka is? That drug that make people go crazy. And like I remember one of them saying like, "That's that stuff coming in from out west." It's like, dog. Listen, I know you were a Salina cop. Like, there's no fucking way that they know where the sources of these drugs are coming from. There's no fucking way. It was just hilarious that that's what they were talking about. When I know for a fact from the stories that you've told me, they're dealing with heroin and meth like constantly around
Oh, yeah,
here.
all
Yeah.
And then this is what they're talking about. It's like, I don't understand it. It was just
Dude,
fucking
it's
hilarious.
just another day when you get a little bit of heroin there.
Don't do heroin.
Yeah, that's a bad one.
Not good.
Heroin.
Yeah.
Not doing heroin.
No heroin.
Not heroin.
Now,
Don't
from-
call it hair loose.
Now, now, I don't know how much experience do you actually have police wise with like drugs, Stolly? Like, what's some of the worst you've seen?
You've told us some stories about your
It's
drug
really. I mean,
calls.
most time it's not like what you think. Like police, like it's a massive bag of rock. Like
No. It's always like a small amount because they're all
always a
fucking
small.
poor.
Yeah, it's always a small
Yeah.
amount. It's always just a little bit, but
Dude, I only ever have a dime bag, dog.
yeah.
Of what? Captain Crunch?
Yeah, dude.
I mean, I think I pulled over 4 cars and we found meth in them. I did, like personally, I pulled over and we found meth.
No shit.
Yeah, and we found a
Did you
rock
ever
of heroin,
not-
like probably the most heroin and meth combined together. We probably found a rock about that big of heroin.
Heroin's in a rock form?
So it
I thought it was in a powder usually.
well, yeah, it's powder, but they put together, like they mash it together, so it comes in a rock, and then they put it on
okay.
a spoon and they heat it up, and
Yeah,
right
I
here.
get you.
so it's sort of in a rock, and a lot of times they put it in pill, and there's one time, it pisses me off. I opened up a little like a medicine thing, and it looked like, I'm like, oh crap, this is it. But I looked up the pill and it looked really similar. So I just put it back, and we were talking about it, and he's like, yeah, we're actually pretty sure that was heroin. I'm like, and it was
Dude,
stacked.
And you didn't,
full,
and they
dude.
just they left the scene.
Dude,
And like,
You didn't know though. You
didn't
didn't
know.
know.
No, I'm just saying.
You don't know. You
I didn't know that was even a
No,
thing.
the other cops. The other
Police work
cops
is
were like,
crazy.
man, like they didn't know either. So
Police work
Yeah,
is
so
crazy.
it was
just
just
let
like
them go,
crap.
yeah.
Yeah, we're just like crap.
I know that sounds
I
terrible.
wish they had test kits.
Yeah, they should. I bet you Salina doesn't. Does Salina
They
even
have,
have like mouth swabs for marijuana, like OVIs? Yeah.
No, they just
I don't
say
know.
your
I
eyes
don't know.
are
I
red.
haven't been in a cop for
What?
like.
They just say your eyes are red. Piss in
Yeah.
this cup.
Yeah.
But no, we have if you
That's
go.
ridiculous. I don't think
They-
can
they
they
have-
use a piss test as criminal evidence against you?
Yeah,
Really?
yeah, they can.
But you can't get a possession for having weed in your piss, can you?
No,
So what are
but
they
you can get an
supposed to get you?
OVI.
They can give you an OVI
if you
for
have
a
pot,
piss test.
if you have pot with
yeah,
you.
but is
Yeah,
that
pot
only
with
because I can't prove that I wasn't high at the time? Isn't it?
I feel like
innocent
that's
until
a valid
proven guilty?
argument. That's our literally.
That's
That's
wh-
what is it? Blackstone's.
I bet if you got a lawyer.
That's how insurance
I bet if you had a
works.
good lawyer, you could get that. But if you don't, then you were under the influence. while
That
driving.
was the thing. That was one thing.
Interesting.
Like I did not agree. Based on
Oh,
what I knew,
yeah,
I did not
obviously.
agree with it. I didn't. So I don't know.
I bet
Dude,
you most
I
of
ju-
those cops don't agree
I
with
think
it
it's
either.
too by the
but-
book. I think it's too by the book anymore. It's like you got to be lenient on some shit. Like,
Oh.
I get it if some dude's like heavily intoxicated
Like,
driving.
fucking up
Yeah,
bad.
yeah, yeah. Definitely pull that fucker over. But if some dude is like driving completely fine in the country or whatever, which this is a whole different can of worms in a city, whatever. But if some dude's driving fine in a country road, even regardless if he's a little drunk, it's like the only person he's gonna hurt is himself at that point.
Yeah.
I think you should really only
It's a
like
free goddamn
you
country.
should really only
Free
act.
country.
You should only act if there's gonna be.
But every once in a while, he runs into the car of high schoolers and kills 7.
Yeah.
Every
It's
once
true.
in a while. That's why they
It
got
actually
strict
happens a
anyway.
lot. more than you think.
Should we
Actually, does
should we
happen.
change our
A lot more than
society
you
because
think.
of a
I
few
don't think
accidents?
so,
No,
but that's
dog,
the
I don't
argument.
think so.
That's,
Yeah.
that's
Because
the
bad
COVID
things-
lockdown argument.
Because
It's the same argument.
bad things happen every single day.
Exactly.
Even if that guy wasn't drinking, it still happens.
Dude, that's the other thing. It's like there's
all
so
about
many
stats
there's
and
so many other
percentages at
things
that
that
point.
could
Yeah.
kill you. Like you have
Yeah.
a so much better chance of dying from heart disease than you do from getting in a car
Well,
accident.
you got to look at age groups at that point. Like if you're gonna
Yeah,
break
yeah.
it down by age groups, people from 18 to 25 are most likely to die in a car accident than anything else. And
Yeah,
that's-
because we're at the prime of our life. No shit,
For
we're
sure.
only gonna die from
for sure.
moving
I wonder what
vehicles
the-
going at 70 miles
I
per
want
hour.
to see the numbers between the death rate of like 40-year-olds and 18 to 25-year-olds. I want to see what the difference is.
Well, I think that like the other problem is that our society has kind of tucked away the conversation of death. You know what I mean?
What do you mean by that?
I mean by that it's almost like people get uncomfortable when you talk about death.
For sure.
Like I've always been pretty open talking about death, especially just because of growing up on a farm and you see death, like with animals and everything, and it's almost like you get a different interpretation of it.
For sure.
For me, it's almost like you return.
Dude, take it from me, dog. I used to work animal control. I've
Yeah.
definitely
Mark's-
killed my fair
Mark's
share
the
of
Grim Reaper.
animals.
And it's
dude.
almost like to me, it's like it's returning. It's like death is just the inevitable, and it's like you only know, you don't know, you don't. It's like what do you remember before your birth? Nothing.
Yeah.
It's the exact same concept. It's
Maybe.
like maybe we could. Maybe. I am faithful.
At its worst.
Yeah, at its worst,
At
it's
its
like what
worst.
I'm saying.
Not even.
Yeah.
You don't know. Maybe you go
That's
to hell.
very-
At
it's
its
very,
worst,
like,
you go
almost
to
like
hell, but like
very pessimistic
if you're looking
thought.
at the stats,
Yeah.
or like the possibilities based on what we know, then you're probably just gonna be.
But it's like
Nothing.
we've almost grown to fear death so much so that we've
Dude,
let
it's
it.
because human beings are naturally afraid of the unknown.
No, they naturally want a state of safety,
Yeah, for sure.
and which goes with
which
the
goes
fear of
with
unknown.
it,
Yeah,
What living animal doesn't not
exactly.
wanna die?
Yeah, exactly.
Like,
Yeah, for
But
sure.
that's the
dude.
thing, it's
For
like-
sure, it's even more brutal in the animal kingdom.
we don't realize because of what this is like the progress of what happens is like we don't realize what we don't. It's not like we don't realize,
No, you
but
just
we
don't
don't
think about it.
We
You're
don't
not to
think
grips
about
with
it
it.
or anything, and like so that causes us to become more safe because we avoid death as much as possible continually.
Yeah.
That's why you have seatbelts. That's why you have everything because it's just avoiding death. in reality.
I'm for seatbelts. I always wear a seatbelt, but I don't think someone else.
I don't
yeah,
think it should be a law.
I don't think it should be a law.
Should be a law.
That's the argument.
Because your
but-
seatbelt doesn't endanger anybody but
I hope-
besides yourself.
Probably.
That's why I think it's ridiculous that people get arrested for
Yeah.
attempted suicide. I think that's ridiculous.
Dude, if you
I was told
understand that either.
that the reason that is because once it's breaking the law, then they can put you in an institute where you can actually get help. But if it's
Yeah,
not,
you-
then they
you-
can't do
but
it.
if
help
they
are you get-
criminalize
like-
suicide, they can also
but it is something to
make
talk
you
about.
work
Dude,
for the
that
state,
should be
like-
a
No,
god.
you
it's
can-
not like they put you
dude,
in fucking prison. They
That should be a God-given right. You should be allowed to take your own life. You are the own commander of your own life.
I agree with that.
I know that sounds very terrible,
Yeah, I agree
but
with
like
that.
you should be allowed to. If you
would
really
say so
are
too.
hating life that much, and I hope you would find someone else to help you. I hope somebody's around to help someone
There
that's
shouldn't be
contemplating it.
criminal
But
penalties
if you
for
are,
it, for sure.
because there's situations where like people's life is it's hell.
There is for sure a lot of situations like that.
And I completely understand the thought process. Is like, yeah, I get, but like you have to almost think of it at a different, because we all have loved ones that care about us and everything, which clouds our vision of it. It almost creates a bias in it. It's like, imagine if you were completely alone and like you are in the shittiest place on earth, and it's like you fought your entire life to get out of that shittiest place on earth. And it's like you've made no progress. Like I could completely see why you'd want to take your own life.
Or you didn't fight.
Or you didn't fight, whatever,
And it's even
regardless.
worse.
Yeah, and that's what I mean. Like, it sucks, but the reality is like,
People
if
should be
you
able to
aren't-
make their own
yeah,
decisions.
exactly,
dude.
yeah.
Like for real.
it's not my choice to decide if you want to live or not.
Well, I mean,
Yeah, I
it
agree.
technically isn't, because like you do still have
Yeah.
the right, because
You can.
you're gonna
If
Yeah,
you do
because
it-
who's gonna
you're gonna do it. You're
like
gonna
you?
do it.
Who's
You're gonna do it. You're gonna
for
do
sure.
it. It's
Yeah.
done. It's
They
That's
should-
the thing about like pretty much any law is you like if they tell us to lock down, for instance, and you just don't, you're breaking the law, but
it's not technically a law.
or whatever. Stop signs.
Yeah.
If you roll a stop sign and no one's around, you broke the law, but it doesn't.
Doesn't
Like
matter.
Tree falls.
They couldn't.
If
Yeah, they
If
a
couldn't.
tree
do
falls in
anything
a
for it,
forest,
yeah.
does
They
anyone hear
couldn't
it?
keep you from doing
Yeah.
it, and that's just we are free.
Yeah.
but you got to make yourself free.
But definitely
Yeah, you gotta learn.
about
Yeah.
the suicide. Definitely, if you're having any trouble with that, definitely find a friend or just.
there's a lot of
dude,
great
if
places
you're
where you
really
can find help.
contemplating on taking your own life, just
We're not
fucking
sitting here
message
telling
me.
you to
Yeah,
take your life.
No, I'm not. I'm not,
not a good
advocating
idea.
for
No, life
taking
is a
your life.
precious
Yeah,
thing. Life
exactly.
is a precious thing.
It's the most rarest.
Yeah.
And
And that's what I mean.
It's the
Like,
best thing
I
that could
hate
ever
saying
happen
that,
to
but it's
anybody.
like you kind of got to face reality sometimes. And it's like,
all you gotta do is just go give someone a hug.
yeah.
Just go give someone a hug. You probably feel better.
That's why you gotta be like, if you don't know someone, you gotta be nice to them.
You know,
you don't know that you don't know the struggles and despair they've been through.
So I work in a pretty, I wouldn't say marginalized, but there are very small amounts of people that work in the line of work that I live or live the type of life that I live. But
Move your mic down a little bit.
probably less than
A little bit more.
0.5% of the country is working in the same industry that I'm working in. So you meet a very striking type of person in this type of life, and so it's like a very spiritual hippie, type of experience.
Discovery.
And so it's weird how you meet people who have been through the ringer. The ringer, and they're still kicking,
Still going.
Sometimes doing better than I'm
Yeah,
doing,
yeah.
and dude, my life was a cakewalk. So up to this point, as easy as it comes, that's how I've had it, and it's just crazy to walk around.
Good for you for wearing it on your sleeve. That's how it should be. Like,
dude.
you should wear your
Hey,
upbringing
cakewalk.
with pride.
Shout out to Eric and Kelly Clausen. They killed it.
But
dude.
they did
a
their
great
job. They did their job.
a great
That's
job.
yeah.
At Cakewalk. I'm 22 years old. Haven't had to worry about much in my life at all.
Yeah.
So shout out to them. But the people that you meet, because in that line of work, you're in with the hippies of society. So you meet the people who have been fucked over and fucked over again, and just about every single one of them are some of the most pleasant people to be around in the world, especially people who have made it through some serious trauma. unless they try to wear their trauma on their sleeve, which some people do. I can't.
You mean
I
like
can't
as an excuse almost?
as an excuse, or like that's what their personality
Well, it's 'cause
is.
they
Is
see it-
their
they see
trauma?
it- they see it
Which
in other
that's-
people.
That's almost part of working through your trauma. Is like kind of making your trauma your identity.
it's a
I
stage?
think.
I don't know.
I haven't
that's-
lived through
I
real
think-
trauma. I don't want to speak towards any people with trauma. All right, so just take this for what I'm saying. So like people that wear their trauma on their sleeve is a little bit different than the people who have like been through the trauma and almost seem normal afterwards. Is because they're past that trauma to the point where like it's no longer part of their being. It's like something that taught them something rather.
That's how I am with
And-
all trauma.
Yeah, but like I mean, dude, there's some people that have been through trauma that
Yeah.
you can't imagine.
Oh, yeah.
And I've met people that have been through trauma that like I could never imagine. Like if you could think of like the worst thing that could ever happen to you as a kid, it's happened to somebody. But like some people like don't get past that, but the people who get past that are probably the most wise people you've ever met in your entire life. It's honestly something amazing to witness.
Yeah, I agree with that completely.
But
'Cause
like
it's like that's the best way to learn experience, and it might suck dick in that time, but
especially somebody
Jeez,
who's
you really
who's
remember a
happy.
lot of this stuff.
Somebody who's happy after the fact is just like it doesn't even have they don't even have to know a lot of the things that you're interested in. It's just like you can feel that energy of somebody who's like made it through something hard and is like living their life as much like the way they want to live it, and it just feels so good to be around. I mean, like, dude, down in North Carolina, like there's some people who have definitely lived through some hard times. I'm not gonna say any names. There's one fellow in particular, just a big old boy, track marks in his arms, not afraid to say it, and like been to prison, and like he's a raft guide now, and he's married to somebody he met raft
Good for
guiding.
him.
Probably, I think he's probably 45, almost 50 years old, dude.
Hell yeah.
Like been through the ringer, and dude, he's a homie. It's literally like I was hanging out with one of you guys, which is so weird to like think about at this young of an age, to be like hanging out with like a 50-year-old dude and being like, why do you feel like I've known you forever? Like, you know what I
Age is
mean?
just a number.
It's crazy.
I've gotten over that completely.
Yeah, me too. Big time.
I'm great friends with people far older than I. I'm like, my dad's one of my best friends. He's fucking 40 years older than me.
I'm
It's
sure
like,
your dad probably has some stories. I don't know your dad very well.
Yeah.
I would love
I'll
to listen to
introduce
him
you to-
talk. You should have him on the cast,
what I'm
dog.
saying.
Have him on the cast. Dude, that would be, he's like one of the best guests you could probably think of.
yeah. He stopped by earlier today.
Yeah.
He dropped me off a package.
I met him before. Is his name Ted?
Tim.
Tim. And Shirley. Shirley, is that your mom's name?
Leslie.
Leslie.
Yeah.
God, they're both so similar.
So similar.
Dude, and your mom's a comedian, dude. That shit's crazy, bro. Like, why doesn't she have her own podcast? Like, I don't understand.
I remember she called me probably like a few months ago, like towards the beginning of the whole lockdown shit. And she was like, "Do you know what Zoom is?" And I was like, "Yeah." And she's like, "How do you Zoom? Can you Zoom for me? Can you do the Zoom for me?" And I was like,
It's an app
"Okay."
on your phone, Mom.
I was like, "Oh my gosh!" I had to like download it on it and like log in for her, and it's like, "Where's on you?"
She needs to start her own Twitter. That's
No,
what she
Oh
just.
my gosh!
She couldn't
Does
possibly
she
do
make
that stuff.
actual?
No, yeah.
Like, where does she? What's her club? Like, does she go to a comedy club to perform?
She goes to all comedy clubs. She's like right now. Her whole jig right now is she's a clean comic, and she does like every year she does like the clean comedy challenge, and they've done it for a few years now.
Have you ever heard of Dry Bar Comedy?
Yeah, I've heard.
It's like the super popular clean comedy thing. It's on Facebook. That's the only reason.
But
I
yeah,
know that.
she's like, and like she used to, and it wasn't. She didn't really ever do that really dirty shit at all.
Yeah.
But like she goes and performs at like the Ice House and shit. Like Joe Rogan perform. That was why.
Places that actual comedian. Was she
Yeah,
an
like
opener? Is she an opener for those guys, or is she like
I have
the
no idea.
local opener, like somebody that
she's
can
not like a
call?
local, but she just goes and travels a lot.
She probably performs in Toledo a shit ton. If I had to guess,
I have no idea.
You literally have no idea.
Dude, it's kind of like, I know it sounds like heartless or anything, but it's like once you kind of, it's like I've been around it so long, it's like runs together.
Is that what she's done since you can remember? Like both your parents
like
were
both my parents
performers?
were entertainers pretty much my entire life.
That's so crazy
it's like
that they're running a farm now. Like that's what they've done.
they've always had the farm. It's
just a completely different breed of people. It's just
so like I've always kind of grew up around it, so it's almost like I'm normalized to it at this point. Yeah. It's like because I remember throughout my entire schooling, every weekend we would go and have shows. Like my parents did Dream Big, which was like a televised talent show. Okay. And they did that for years and years. I don't even know how many seasons it did. And then like they did Wish Upon a Song, which was another televised TV show. And then they did like my mom loved pageants, and she did like the first televised Ohio pageant and shit like that. Shit. They did it live and shit. But yeah, so it was always like I was always completely surrounded by that shit. So I don't know. I've become normalized to it so much.
So
it's like my dad doesn't like to travel anymore because he's traveled so much through his life.
That makes sense. That makes sense. You told me some stories about your dad as a guitar player or something. I want to go back on your mom's comedy real quick.
Yeah.
So, plug her real quick. What's her name?
Leslie Norris Townsend. If you honestly want to look at my mom's comedian act, which is great.
It's pretty good.
I'm at the point where it's like it's about me, so it's like
that is crazy.
So it's like I don't find it humorous anymore.
Never
just because
heard this.
You can go and YouTube it. It's great.
So where does she perform her act?
Everywhere.
Around, dude.
She just gets.
How far does she travel from here? Like, and how often is she home?
She's been in Canada a lot. She brings me back Canadian.
Does she go on tours?
Yeah, she went on tour last year, I believe.
So she's not home all the time.
Most of it. Well, see, like once we kind of got done with middle of college, she wanted to go and travel because like her whole entire life she was an entertainer.
Okay.
She her parents died and she raised her little brother.
Where's she from?
New Jersey.
Oh, no shit.
Yeah, and so like
did your dad meet her there?
No. Okay. My dad met her in Reno.
What the fuck?
Yeah, no. I feel weird telling this.
Is your dad from here?
Yeah, my dad. Well, our family's been here for generations.
Salina?
Townsend Farm.
Salina.
Townsend Farm,
Okay, that's what I thought. Mm-hmm.
And so we've always been around this area. Like a lot of the, like my great grandpa who was a surveyor. Moses. Yep. He did a lot of surveying. He founded, I think it was Mahoning County, Ohio, and Bucks County, Pennsylvania, and like another county out in Ohio.
No shit.
In like the 1800s.
That's 1800s. Crazy.
We still have his house. So like,
so is that where your family?
You know the little house?
Yeah.
Moses built that house.
No shit. No shit. So he was the one that like built all the hiding places for the Underground Railroad and all that stuff. No shit.
Well, not that. I don't even know about it, but he served in the Civil War. But yeah, he built that in 1847 and it still stands today.
So that all sits in that part of history.
Yeah. And so like my dad's side has always been around this area. So that's why it's always kind of like I've definitely realized it's completely different because like different in the aspect of pride.
Yeah.
Because like I've noticed that my pride is different than what other people think is pride is. Like my pride is my heritage. It's I come from a long line of like
my heritage literally has nothing to do with the way I live.
Exactly.
Literally nothing.
That's what I mean. It's completely
different.
different. And like I don't let my heritage shape my life.
No,
don't
for
get me
sure,
wrong.
for sure.
But it gives me and that's why I always like telling people about it just because I want other people to look. I want other people to look into their own heritage because like. I found that it empowers me because it's like I saw all of these accomplishments my like past ancestors did, and I guarantee you that a lot of other people's past ancestors did the same because there wasn't very many people pre-1900. So it's like one of your ancestors could have done something very great, and that like empowers you.
Yeah,
that's why I'm a huge proponent in like figuring out your family lineage and like looking into the history behind your family. Yeah. Just because there's so much power in it, like
their blood,
your blood runs through you.
Yeah,
like,
for sure.
I always think that to myself, like whenever I get down or whatever, or if I find something that's a roadblock, and it's like I think back and I'm like It sounds corny or whatever, but I'm like, my great grandpa got shot in the Civil War. I'm bitching about like this thing I'm doing right now. Like, that motherfucker got shot.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
I think to myself that, and it's like, I also think to myself, like, he built an entire farm off of no electricity, no plumbing. He raised draft horses.
That's crazy.
Championship draft horses, and that's what he prided himself on.
Off a fucking well and some cornfields. Bro.
Exactly. And that's what I mean.
shit
Like
is
everyone's kind of got the
crazy.
same heritage, and like some people's heritage it might come from being an immigrant. They've escaped some persecution,
Yeah, for
like
sure.
whatever. Like because half of my family came from Italy. I still have family over in
Yeah,
Italy.
same here.
Exactly. And
I
like
have family in France. Right now.
My
There you
Italian,
go.
my
And, like-
Italian family didn't come here until like 1915.
exactly.
You know? Like,
and that's what I mean. I want people like if you have family that even though you're like it might be generations that you've talked to them, like maybe your grandparents talked to them far back. You should go and find them because like that same you having that little burning flame inside of you that wants you to talk to that person, they feel that exact same way. Even though they might not know it yet, they will know it. You
yeah,
know what I
once
mean?
you talk to them,
Exactly.
for sure. Yeah,
Because it's like blood runs deep.
yeah, for sure. it
Exactly.
does.
And there's
It's
some
really
deeper
weird.
meaning
It's
to
like
it.
almost intrinsic.
Do you guys know the Hatfields and McCoys?
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
The two dueling clans. Yeah.
I'm related to the McCoys.
No shit.
Yeah, my mom's side.
There you
is related to the
go,
McCoys.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
dude. They were a very prideful people.
That's-
My
funny
mom's side,
because-
my mom.
My great grandfather was actually a Hatfield.
No wonder I fucking hate you.
So the ones my mom always says, which my mom talks a lot, so like it's like hard to listen to sometimes. But she's always told me that like on her side of the family, the two like main people that we can like trace our family lineage back to are the people who made the Stetson hats.
There you
And
go.
then Martha Washington are like the two main people that
Exactly.
she can like track
Dude,
down.
that's a
their
big-
lineage.
Wait,
Like,
you're related to Martha Washington?
I guess like I don't know. I don't know. Like
That's pretty
this
sweet.
is interesting.com, dude.
Dude, I think
that's why we call you King Clausen.
Dude, I think it goes with
King
everyone
Clausen.
too. Everyone's got that. Everyone has a lineage,
Yeah, for sure.
regardless of how terrible your lineage might have
Hey,
been.
out of all
you are there.
Out of
you are
all
here.
four of us in this room, the chances of two of us being related to Genghis Khan are pretty high. Pretty high.
You know that I learned a
They
couple
call him
weeks ago?
Genghis Khan?
No, you know what I learned a couple weeks ago is that his name is pronounced Genghis Khan.
Yeah, that's what I was saying.
I had no idea.
Like
Genghis
anything,
Khan.
anything but Genghis. There's like two pronunciations
Yeah.
that people accept, and Genghis is one.
No, it's not at all.
That's
It was
hilarious.
completely like a Western thing pushed it, but it's
Fucking
like
idiots, dude. Jesus.
That doesn't matter.
Yeah,
it doesn't matter.
it's like it's like GIF and GIF.
Yeah, it doesn't matter.
As long as you get what the idea across, then who the
Genghis
fuck
Khan.
cares?
Ding. All right.
Why get caught up in
He's
semantics?
the best conqueror of all time.
I just thought that was
Shout
interesting
out.
about that. I had no idea that it was used.
Shout out.
Yeah, dude, he spread his seed far and wide. His concubines were high in numbers.
Jesus.
That dude fucked for a living. Oh my god. They would
Straight
like
up.
they would
That's
literally just go
probably-
to a village, conquer the village and say, "She looks hot."
Dude, what do you
Bring her to
think
my
every
concubine.
what do you think every civilization
Exactly.
in history has done up to this point?
But is that not what you, I know this sounds terrible, but is that not what you want? You want the best person
Frank,
breeding.
that's absolutely disgusting.
You get what I'm saying though. You actually
Beauty's
like,
beauty's
if
in
you're-
here,
You
bro.
gross, you gross alpha male.
If you're viewing the forest for the trees, if you're viewing the forest for the trees, and you see as a whole, but individually it's definitely not good. But as a whole, yeah, it probably makes sense having the most fucking alpha dude
Bro.
conquering
Listen,
bitches
couldn't-
like
You can
left and
you
right.
can
Agreeable.
you can break it
You
down.
disagree?
Let's hear it real quick.
Maybe for
I'm gonna
somebody
shit on it.
else, but
Shut the fuck up. All right. All right. So even in the plant world, people choose the most masculine looking
Selective breeding.
Like, dude, it's selective
Yeah.
breeding every time. Like, dude,
It's
there's
not even
literally-
it's not even a case of
let's
masculine
say-
versus feminine.
well-
It's desirable traits versus
that's
non-desirable.
Yeah,
why
yes,
all the
but
rich people
desirable
in the world
traits-
are beautiful.
Dude,
all the
listen.
rich people
Yeah.
are beautiful because they
Even-
breed with each other.
For
Yeah.
sure.
like,
Well, you can break that down into stress levels too, but I'm gonna continue my forestry point real quick. So, dude, if you're doing a crop tree release, say you need oak trees in this area because oak trees produce food for fucking animals, and we need food for animals in this day of time because most of the world's not forested anymore. Anyway, so you're gonna choose the biggest tree with the most goddamn branches, which if you look at a tree with a lot of branches, it straight up looks like muscular, you know, vascular and muscular.
Have you guys ever read Mein Kampf?
Like almost shut the fuck up.
Dude, there's a lot
Shut
of
the fuck up. Oh my God. Why'd you have to ruin that?
We should only let the strong breed.
Shut the fuck
And
up.
the strongest are blue hair, over 6 foot.
Blue hair.
Brown eyes.
Blonde eyes, dumbass.
That's what I've been saying. If you look at the forest for the trees, eugenics is right.
Shut the
But
fuck
if you
up.
don't, it's wrong. I don't get it. I'm not making any decision on it. I think it's personally, I will selectively breed plants and animals, but
Well,
not humans.
Here's the truth.
Agreed.
We're all trying to do the best we can as it comes to females, and they're trying to do the best they can. And we just,
Fuck.
that's the thing. We're doing
We do.
it.
It's really.
Reproduce.
And we do. It's awesome.
I think this is a great place to end it.
Peace and love. Clausen, is there
Great
anything
place
else
to
you
end
want to say?
I just want to let everybody know that we need to just be living the way you are, have as much fun as you can. Stop getting pissed off at your neighbors. Who cares who they voted for? Because literally all the politicians want the same thing. That's
Preach,
power.
queen.
So everybody just have a good time. Smoke your weed, drink your beer, live your life. Have fun.
Only
Try
smoke weed in
and read
states
Mein
that
Kampf.
is legal in. You're not smoking
Also,
any states that is illegal,
one thing
as
I
illegal.
forgot to plug. I talked about my snowmobile guiding job a lot. That company I work for is called Grand Adventures. That is in Winter Park, Colorado. If you ever want to take a snowmobile tour, head out there, have a good time. It's
a ton
always
of fun.
great to go snowmobiling.
Ton of fun.
You might even end up having me as your guide. All right, peace out, homies.
You're not
Love
a hippie,
y'all.
are you?
Am I a hippie? I mean, dog, I'm wearing literally NOC hat where I used to work, and I got long hair. I mean, man, look at me right now. Do I look like a hippie?
If you
I'm a
want to be a
hippie. Do you want
hippie, you're a
peace?
hippie then.
What?
Do you want peace?
Do I want peace?
On
Yeah.
Earth.
I don't know, man. The zombie apocalypse. The zombie apocalypse sounds pretty sick.
The right answer was yes.
If you want to be a hippie, you're a hippie.
All right.
All right.
All right. Peace on Earth sounds great, but it's never gonna happen. Sorry, everybody.
These are realistic hippies.
Reality.
Thanks for listening, guys. If
Yeah.
you made this far, we really appreciate it.
Yep.
And be sure to smack that fucking like button right now. Thank you. Peace out.
See ya.
See ya.